So we will begin with the usual meditation first. So before we begin the meditations, so just reflect upon these few points of meditation practice. So first of all, to understand, or we all know that we have something called mind, consciousness, awareness, within ourselves. And then also, we also have something which we will called or refer as, I, with a deep sense of I, there's a I there. And then we also have something we call this physical, body. We call it, my body. So now these three things is something which really, like our mind, our body, and then the self, are always really goes together, or as if they are each other's companions. And so it's good to so it's important to understand the kind of the connections, or some sort of what is the link or the relations that exist among those three. So as to the reality of this, what we call as I, with a deep, down at the sense of I. So what if we, if you check what that I want, and then it is a true fact, universal fact, that what this I always want is a happiness, and while what it's always trying to avoid is suffering or unhappiness.
That today is that they talk,
so because of this fact, that is, as you said, which is same to all the living beings, such as, so if you take even as an example of some animals, so they also have a naturally or innately, there's a deep down, there is a strong desire for happiness and to of avoiding sufferings.
That's something.
And then if we check in terms of the of all the species or the types of the living beings, then choose, which one is most, wise or most good at, finding this, achieving this, this innate wish to find happiness and to avoid suffering, then we'll find that the human being, as a human being, is really among all other types of living beings, is really gifted with some very with us very special knowledge and the a means to be able to fulfill these our natural or the fundamental wishes for happiness and avoiding sufferings. So as a human beings, so as we just explained before, there's also, as a human being, we also wanted this I, deep down we have I, and which wants to find happiness. And so therefore now if we if we think about now about the means, what is the most effective means to find happiness, and so this is something we need to investigate. So, yeah. This one. So what we need to do is to make the best the use of this unique human intelligence, and then of course that just simply knowing how to find happiness alone is not enough. Then at the same time, then we need to use whether even if they are physically, we need to use our using of our body even to create the implement that means into practice. So what would ensure the total happiness or the sound well-beings. So is if you could mentally, if you could enjoy a state of mind which is very peaceful and which is a very positive, and as well as physically, if we enjoy a very sound health.
샤딩 소소 대라 병들 근데 맞아 유는 손도그지 된대리지.
And then furthermore, if we now look at the mental and the the physical factors or the conditions that brings happiness to this to ourselves or to this I, then we can recognize that the mental factor is actually is more important, is more influential, and so our mental factor even has got a lot to has a effect on our even a physical health, well-being. For example, if we have mentally, if we are not careful, then with the if we it's possible because of certain wrong way of thinking that we can do something and then can even which can affect or they harm our physical health. So therefore however, if we if mentally, if we have just as if we're looking at the basic nature of the mind, as it is so mind is very clear and has a and there's a very clear awareness. So like that, if we could experience that, if you could bring that nature in our mind, and if we have a very clear and a pure state of mind, and then this can have a as an effect of this mind, then we will be whatever even the physical actions that we create, that would be also become something very wholesome, something the positive in terms of the ensuring good health, both physical health and the mental health, and so therefore how it is naturally that if we enjoy a good health of body, then that actually benefit to ourselves, and so therefore it's important to see how the primary cause of our happiness, including even the good health, is really lies within our mind.
네. 다 네, 들려서는 나도 내내 다 랭게 정보를 세수 리수이도 나도 랭게 정보 되는 거야. 저는 내가 안 답을 서 세수 리수이도 나도 내내는 거야. 나도 랭게 정보 되는 거야. 새 야보수 레야보수에서는 야 용용와서 나한테 땡땡되는 거야. 너무 기대도
So in other words, so we have the responsibilities to really to take care of or to safeguarding the well-being of our mind as well as our body.
다 근데 다 세수거는 세수거는 가리다 세수거는 세수는 세례를 들여 세수는 세는 돼요. 나 손 대도 얘가 다 세수이 타도 가리다 또다 검자들 내가 될래요.
So if we have the responsibilities, or if it's we really have to, we must, if we think that we we must take care of or safeguard our mind, then what does that mean, safeguarding or taking care of our mind? And then obviously what does that mean is to be to have a subdued or a controlled or a disciplined state of mind, such that such that our mind become very friendly or very workable in a sense, workable or serviceable, and so therefore the now this is what this is why we now engage into meditation. We apply the meditation practice, so which we have to see as a means to subduing or to means to safeguarding the well-being of the mind. So the meditation practice, so if it is is a means to disciplining or is means to safeguarding our mind. Now, in order to appreciate this, the practice of the meditation, because only then if we have really appreciate, then we will be would have more interest and take the practice more seriously, and so therefore if we have to consider how if you consider how if our mind is not calmed, or the mind is very distorted or very confused, then how this will automatically, then how you or this I also become very distorted, very confused. And so therefore, out of this, as a result of that, then whatever this I actions that this I, or even the tasks that I undertake, then also become very very confusing, very distorted. And so therefore, as a result, then you cannot achieve much, cannot achieve the what is you supposed to achieve from that your actions, and so therefore at the end, so it will be you won't achieve any success, achieve your goal that you seek from your actions. So therefore, in this way, it's important to see how the benefit of meditation practice, for oneself, in one's life, and how this conversely, how if we could, through meditation practice, if we could achieve the calmness in the mind, how that has such a very positive impact on one's life.
손은 들려서 센트를 가면 새 자산 만에 된줄 누구래 새도 저러 더 손을 떼도 저러서 과하고 싶지 레서 라 고자 있는 거 때문에 저러 된질래 새 자산 내고 뭐 센트를 센트는 말 들리 센트한테 가르래 새 자산 내고 뭐 있었잖아 나 대리 제 번호에서 나도 저를 그냥 하고 그래.
So in order to do the meditation practice, effectively, so we really have to know, first of all, know the benefit of this meditation practice. We have to see the benefit to ourselves, to our life, and also the to see how the meditation is an effective means to overcoming these all the disturbed or restless states of mind or a distorted state of mind. And so now how we have to also see also need to understand in order to do the meditation practice, we have to understand what does mean by the disturbed state of mind. How we're going to describe or define that, or to identifying that state of mind, because that is the mind which we're trying to, through meditation practice, we're trying to get rid of. And so therefore, first of all, we need to recognize that. And so it is the mind which is restless or disturbed or distorted is the one which doesn't stay where it's supposed to stay, doesn't rest where it's supposed to rest, but rather is always, instead of resting where it's supposed to rest, is always wandering off, always wandering after various things, after various thoughts or the events. So therefore, this is when we have a mind, something like which has this kind of habit of always wandering off, but it's never been really be at present, or not really sitting. Then how this had what kind of impact on one's life? This is the impact even if you are trying to, even for meditators, that this is a main. If you cannot resolve, cannot overcome this, then even meditator cannot achieve the goal, cannot do the meditation properly, and so therefore cannot achieve the goal of the meditation practice. So likewise, even in our everyday life, a mundane life, how if our mind is wandering off to somewhere else, and then how whatever actions or tasks that you are doing, how that becomes very very weak, and so therefore we cannot achieve much from that such task. So in this way, it's important to, in order to practice meditation effectively, it's important to understand how the recognize this disturbing state of mind, and recognize that, and how this is the impact, very negative, or the detrimental effect that it have on one's actions and one's whole life.
네, 다 손을 대토셔. 손을 대토를 만들어서 가지를 세는데 손을 대토를 다 만들어 들이자지 손을 또도 새 야사다. 네 건지하고 그거만 보여. 새 야사들 건지하고 해야나 새 야사는 새내 도를 손 든든 새 내봐. 내비다 맞아 건지세 내봐 개kim을 쉬어 되겠다. 새 내봐 되라. 너들 야자 건지요는 건지 뒤에 뭐 쉬고 거네. 대토제데 새 야사들 만에 바데 건지 내봐 뒤에 뭐 쉬어. 건지 좀 새 내게 되나. 나 면에 새 내봐 내비다. 건지 좀 지금 소단 스니 로지 샤고 되야.
So hopefully you're getting some idea of the what is the meditation practice is all about. And so it is about really training our mind, and because the reason why our mind needs to be trained is because as we just mentioned earlier, that it has a very like a pattern or a very negative habit of always wandering off, and has no tendency or to actually to rest, and so therefore the meditation practice is a training or to familiarize the mind to rest or to sit, when you want to sit, when you want to rest. So so therefore without the training, or in another word, because we are not familiar with this practice of resting our mind, to practice to stabilizing our mind in the whatever in the given objects, that we find it very difficult to actually to have the mind stay at the present moment. So however, through meditation practice, and if we train our mind, then eventually it is possible to see some progress in terms of having a bit of control over one's mind, so that the mind will rest when you wanted it to rest also.
Yeah, that's something. There is a some boy saying that gave me back to said the job. So I don't want me much of the bones and that he got you add.
So instead of letting the mind just the always wandering off after external things, or always under the influence of some distracting thought, so we want to through meditation practice, so we make the mind to actually to sit in the object that we to a chosen objects, so therefore sometimes the meditation is also sometimes defined as a means to familiarize or train the mind to sit or to abide in a virtuous or a positive object. And so therefore in in meditation practice, so if we are successful in terms of just being able to fix the mind on the given objects, of something, object or virtue or some wholesome object, fix the mind there and single-pointedly and without drifting off to any other objects. So if you fix the mind there, and then that is the indications. That is the indication of the effectiveness of one's meditations. So when the meditation is effective, then it is actually safeguarding our mind, or protecting our mind. Now, the question is safeguarding from. If you ask question, safeguarding or protecting the mind from what? Then it is safeguarding the mind from the influence of like some destructive like emotions, afflictive emotions, such as angers, desires, pride, jealousies, so forth. Which those emotions, which the moment they arise in our mind, how we immediately lose all our peace and our clear thinkings, and we find, as we feel it very painful inside. So, but with the meditation, if we if our mind is actually is brought under control in our meditation practice, in a sense, like I said before, is in here is just to be able to fix the mind on the given object, something of object which is something wholesome, positive. Then there's no room for that. His mind is there. we fix there, so there's no room for all this afflictive emotion to arise. And so therefore, we can consider, we have to think of how, even to think of the benefit of the meditation practice for one's own self, how, to enjoy just a moment of not having the any such a disturbing thought or some disturbing such emotion, afflictive emotion, such as anger, even for some short moment, how that is beneficial for oneself. How these can, when you the kind of very peace, that the stillness that which you bring in the mind through by getting rid of, freeing oneself from all the afflictive emotion, how these create this within one's some sort of very clear, peace and some sort of clear thinkings, and have the clear mind, clear awareness, and so this has a tremendous benefit for one. So even though, when in this kind of, when we apply these kind of meditations, maybe not necessarily we maybe, as soon as we finish the when we finish the meditation practice, it's not like we have able to actually uproot the cause of all this destructive or the afflictive emotions. Still how this has an effect is, at least not only during the meditation practice, it has given one some experience of inner peace and happiness, but even how when you come out of the meditation practice, it changes your outlook. You maybe become more aware of yourself and of your mind, and even how then it is possible at least to occur to one that how, if due to certain adverse situation, if you which cause some once the hostile state thought to arise, at least to, or like such as anger, at least to be able to recognize that at least one recognize that anger arise, and how now recognize that how now your whole well-being is being now disturbed. Your thought, your thinking, and even your the physical well-beings, how that it has been disturbed, and to be recognized that, and then there is at least it is possible that the at least one may then think of doing something to overcome that, rather than just put up with this very hostile thoughts and emotions, and then even some rather than even feeding that those afflictive emotions, then which means that it can bring more sufferings. So instead of that, so if one may one may want to even apply some meditation practice to overcome that, since you do not want that since you recognize that as something very very negative, very disturbing, and can be very destructive. So therefore, if you can engage like as in the meditation practice, so for example, to specifically to overcome the anger, you can engage in the practice where you can, instead of your mind occupying on the various causes or the thoughts and the events which are the which condition the anger. So instead of that, if you look, even the one technique is just simply to look at the nature of the anger itself. Look at which is anger is within oneself. So if you look at that, the mind hostile and this angry mind itself, and how you can find that it is effective in terms of actually making that anger almost like a self-destroying itself. and so in this way the I think that's it. Yeah. Now this. Well. So, so there's no doubt that the meditation practice is perhaps the most effective means to overcome the some major source of the problems, and also so there's you see it has a if you apply the meditation practice or integrate the meditation practice, so it has a great benefit for oneself. So because if we examine the source of the problems, then the one major source of the problem is not something external, but rather is something within ourselves, within our mind. We can see within our mind there's something there which brings about so many like unnecessary problems and confusions, and which is responsible for making us very disturbed and very restless. So therefore it's important to recognize this, recognizing that the meditation is to overcome that inner source of the one's problem, and so in this way, when you engage in the practice, so you would you would know where to the aim, or where you should target your meditation practice.
No cell thing, that shit, there's no sono yamu matona, shit, such as no cell thing, but they are telling you. Then not do you tell them, not tell you. Shit, such as no same thing, they are that on a without upon my death over here. Then no son to Zuman was right, that's on to us. Shit, touches on that, yeah. Touches tell us then no same thing, but they are should come on the tell you come out chatting, not about that about it. Go up with that, take on Mutus or me. Shit, touches on was no same thing, they are adding road. They are every rather than no thing to say day, touches so there is an she said they touches no same thing down no same thing, touches so there. Sang their thoughts of no touching monkey, but they are yoga things. That's what they are. She touch a card, no sing there. ध्यान है बादे नेंस देर तम रा ने तजे मानसो तजे कार मानसो दे नो से के न सोन तो जो जोंबो दे तजे मानसो दे सोन दे तो ना ने याबो जोआ दे ने ने मान सोन तो बे रे से
So the meditation practice has the potentials not only to overcome or to prevent the various source of suffering, unnecessary or unwanted sufferings, but also it has the potential if we experience or confront with some unwanted situations. So it has the potential to be to maintain, even in such situation, adverse situation, to be able to maintain one's own peace and the relaxations, and so there is some sort of, it has the potential to be able to resist oneself from such adverse situations. And so, and then as we're saying, how the meditation practice is through which we are actually creating the internal factors for finding happiness, finding peace, internal factors. And so therefore, when we find that internal factors, when we fulfill those internal factors, then it is automatically that everything you externally, everything you the success you achieve in the form of the wealth and so forth. So these are all then really add a more happiness and be able to really to bring satisfactions. I normally call it, and these are all become like a bonus happiness for oneself. Whereas, however, on the other hand, when we are internally, when we are lacking that the cause of happiness, and that is, as we're saying before, that is really the internally, if we lack the state of mind which is clear and the positive and peaceful, then if we are lacking that, then how's the internal fact, the sort of external, our external success don't then necessarily don't bring the happiness or add more the happiness or the satisfactions. And I say that sometimes that even the worst situation is how those in fact, on the other hand, those external success, external progress that one make in life, instead of bringing happiness in the worst, is the worst situation is they turn out to be most, a cause of suffering bringing suffering in one's life. And so therefore, therefore it's important to understand. If we understand, if we reflect on these things and how we recognize, how to understand the importance of the value of this, creating and some sort of the internal factor for our happiness, and then how, when we think on this, then really the meditation practice is only the most effective way, because with that we are talking about, when we talk, because creating the internal factors. So we are talking about our own, basically our own state of mind, to bringing us a positive, way of thinkings or outlooks, in our mind. So at least we know that the meditation practice has the benefit of achieving the calmness and the peace within our mind, and so that so that we are not excuse me. So we are not completely overpowered by some sort of unruly or disturbing thought. And so even though there are also, when we talk the meditation, so there can be various types of meditation. Some meditation can be very complex meditations. But even if you take in the very simple form of meditation, we can really appreciate its practical benefits in our life. So now for meditation, as to the meditation practice, so we would have an object, have to recognize the object of the meditation practice. So such as like if you are doing the breathing meditation practice, so the object is just simply the inhaling and the exhaling of the breathing. And but generally it says that the object you have to choose the object which is easily recognizable, something familiar with. You already familiar to you, that you have seen or you already known to you. And also the object have to be something very easily easy for one to focus on or to visualize. And also the object is something which is very effective or very makes it very easy for one's mind to actually sit or rest on. So therefore in another word, so therefore in the actual practice, so what one need to, as a tool, So one need to apply the mindfulness or the memory to in order to place or direct the mental attention on the object. So it is also important that when we engage in meditation practice, so we we choose the right sitting postures. So right sitting posture is one which is most comfortable, most suitable for one's for one to continue the meditation practice. So on the other hand, so we have to avoid any kind of postures, which can cause discomfort to to one's body, and so through this then can affect the meditation practice. So for example, if someone's who's got a some pain in knee, and then if you sit on the wrong postures, then the pain will simply get worse. Then instead of being able for one's mind to focus on the object, but rather the focus will go to the pain. And so therefore it is also it's okay to avoid such discomfort of the body. So it's okay to even to sit on chair if that's what suits you. So so you have to relax, important to choose the right sitting posture and make sure you feel completely relaxed, all part of body relaxed in that posture. And then then you start with the you have to use the what we call as the mindfulness, or it is more like a memory that is to of the object, and because upon which then you need to through memory, through power of memory and the mindfulness, so you place the mind on the object, which they use like as if the memory is like a rope which tie the mind to the given object, and then the what one as the mind is set on the objects. So what one have to look in that is to ensure that there is the object is clear to one's mind. You know, as you focus there, the object there is some sort of the clarity of the object in one's mind, and no. So the clarity in the clarity within one's mind, and as well as not just clarity, but there is if there's some sort of element of the intensity of sharpness of that clarity within one's mind as the mind is fixed on the objects. So there is that sharpness of clarity within one's mind, and as well as the other important feature is to have to ensuring that your focus is single pointed to the object. So there's no influence of any external distractions. So so that's the mindfulness, how you apply the mindfulness in the meditations. Then at the same time, then it is also then will become necessary for one to actually to check, to examine whether the mind is really sitting or the focusing on the object or not. So to do that, so to be able to detect or to ensure that the mind is properly, is single pointedly abiding on the object. So these other tool that one need to apply is so called as the alertness, or sometimes they call it introspections, but I think it's more like awareness of that object, so which is the another tool, beside the mindfulness, we very important to apply it. Yes. Okay, so we will do the meditation for this short time. So as discussed earlier, so make sure you feel comfortable in your whatever is your sitting posture, and feel the relaxing of the body, and then trying to get rid of all the outgoing thought and particularly any like mental afflictions, if there's anything affliction, and so just trying to feel the full resting of the mind within oneself, and then then one direct, after one fully brought the mind inward, then one direct the mind on the incoming and outgoing breath, and just as much as possible to keep the mind in with the rhythms of breathing in and out. continue the meditations, but we'll shift the focus of the mind rather on the Buddha's mantra, which we will chant together. So just as we chant the mantra, so just make sure you as much as possible to direct the mental attention on the sound of the mantra. So we'll do that, and then after we finish the chanting, then we will also remain, do just a bit of like a silent meditations. So that's all for tonight, but we will continue the teaching in the future. And so as we discuss in this session, so it's very beneficial to do the meditations on a regular basis.
tini ba song song ba song tong go ma ja be ne ga de go ba song tong ra go yan he ka ma ja ka ta ri xia no ji song cha su wa ni go ji ya na ani a pu na so so long ge ja he ni ni na ya ja na ya ma ja na so 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 ji no mo ji a ya ta si na ya ko se ra
so you need to, it's important to, to be clear about why you are why you are doing meditation practice, and how to practice meditations. So so therefore there are a lot of things that we just cover in our discussion. So it's good to just whenever you find some time to just to reflect on, give a bit of thought on those various points that we brought up in these teachings. Just have a bit of thought, and so in this way, if you really after giving a good thought on those things, and then you think that you come to the conclusion that yes, there is really this meditation practice something really beneficial to me, and you could say I could see how it's related to my own well-beings and how it's going to be effective. So when you have this on your own knowledge, you gain a full knowledge, and then you go and then engage in the practice, and then it will have a tremendous benefit. Yes.
Yoke central and market shop, watching that one. I shoot you one day, no more loose and light. I chose a thing. I know what I said to my dad. Said, she was in that target. In theology, Kati and my knee good. My knee said, hey, one year. All over said, hey, said much you want Chilona. I didn't know that. Sandup Tsering, then you continue to go like you.
So the meditation practice is really to build a very positive like a habit, so that we can always like wake up in the morning with a very positive state of mind. And likewise, when you go to bed, we go to bed in this positive state of mind, and so it's good to even if the duration is of the practice that you meditate practice, even if it's 4 or 5 minutes, but it's good to integrate that in as a regular practice. Like for example, some people they do that in the morning, so you spend that time in the morning, like to trying to at least when you wake up and trying to be aware of your mind and be assuring that, making sure that, there's no, your mind is at peace. There's nothing, it is not so disturbed or so restless or very scattered. So you want to have so it's good to, to do this short meditation and to, which will bring the such peace and inner peace and happiness in the mind also. So you need to do a bit more work on, finding out what meditation is, and also trying to test that in practice. And finally, thank you for